Hi everybody, my name is Christy High and I teach yoga for the Bullitt County Public Library System. And since we're not able to meet in person, I decided to start recording the classes at home so that we can practice together virtually. So thank you for joining me today. All of my classes are taught from a beginner perspective. I will always offer kind of the gentlest version of the poses. And then if you'd like to be playful and test yourself and see if you can go a little farther into a pose, I'll offer those examples, but you're never pressured into doing anything more difficult than what you feel comfortable in my classes. So please feel free to listen to your body and do the same thing at home as what you would do if you were in one of my classes at the library. So we're going to go ahead and get going. And because of everything that's been going on in the world right now, I think all of us would do well with just taking a moment's pause. So I'm going to start off the practice just with some simple breathing exercises, kind of slow everything down, alleviate some stress in your lives. So if you would, just join me in a gentle seated position. That could be cross-legged, it could be legs straight out, whatever's most comfortable for you. Just find that gentle seat. Close the eyes. Start to lengthen through the spine, allowing the head to reach up towards the sky. Feeling yourself grow tall in your seat. And just start to draw awareness to the breath. Noticing if you're stopping the breath, taking shallow breaths like most of us do. We're always thinking about what we're going to do in the next breath instead of fully enjoying and embracing this one. And I'd invite you to start to do that, to be present in this breath right now. And start to draw in a deep breath, feeling that air travel through the nose, down the throat, into the chest, down to the belly. And then tracing that path back up, out from the belly, up through the chest, through the throat, and back out through the nose. Another nice deep breath in when you're ready. And as you exhale this time, mentally focus on those shoulders. Feel them shifting down, floating away from the ears, sinking down towards your mat. Another nice deep breath in, growing taller as you breathe in. And again, exhaling, keeping that spine tall while you continue to reach the shoulders down away from the ears, creating some space. On your next breath in, I want you to count and see how long you normally take a deep breath in. Maybe it's a count of 3 or 4, and as you exhale, see if you can't double it. Breathing out for a count of 6 or 8. If that's too much, please don't let this cause you any stress. Maybe you slow your breath down, breathing into a count of 1, 2, and then out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And next we're going to do one of my favorite breathing exercises. So you can gently blink the eyes back open. And we're going to take our fingers and we're going to hold our first 2 fingers up, so as if we were going to do air quotes. And we're going to bring those together, and then we're going to grab hold of our ring fingers with our thumbs and then bring the pinky fingers out. And then we're just going to let those hands flip over and draw them down to let them rest gently on our knees. I learned about this particular mudra or hand gesture when I was going through my prenatal yoga teacher training. And one of the things that this particular gesture is really good for is clearing foggy brainness, giving us kind of clarity of mind, helping with what's typically known as mommy brain or pregnancy brain. But it works for everybody. It really does help just kind of clear out all the fog, clear out all the chaos that's going on in the brain. And so I'm going to guide you through the next gentle breathing exercise. You can again close the eyes and just listen and follow along with the instruction. We're going to alternate between breathing in and out through the nose or the mouth. So when you're ready, go ahead and close the eyes gently and start to breathe in through the nose, out through the nose, in through the mouth, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the mouth, out through the nose, in through the nose, out through the nose, in through the mouth, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the mouth, out through the nose, in through the nose, out through the nose, in through the mouth, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the mouth, out through the nose. And you can just allow your breath pattern to come back to normal, whatever that means for you. Maybe that's breathing in through the nose or in through the mouth. But just allow your body to guide your breath into whatever is the most comfortable variation of an inhalation and exhalation now. Feeling any tension or chaos that was previously in the mind, the neck, the shoulders, just start to sink down and dissipate off into the ground, making its way as far away from you as possible. You can start to wiggle the fingers and stretch those hands out now, maybe blink the eyes back open. And for copyright reasons, I can't have any music playing during practice right now, but as we get going, I would invite you to pause the video if you'd like, and then turn on whatever your favorite music is to have playing in the background for your own personal practice. So to start off with, we're going to work our way down from the top of the head to the trunk, just doing some gentle stretches to get going. So to start, I'd like you to think about letting the left ear start to travel up towards the sky as the right ear starts to dip over towards the right shoulder. Remembering to let the shoulders sink down away from the ears and create space, so we don't want to crunch the head down here, but really lengthen through the spine. Feel that ear traveling up as opposed to the right ear traveling down. Just taking a couple gentle breaths here. And if you'd like to deepen the stretch, you can start to take those left fingertips and just bring them gently out to the left side of the body, tenting them as if you were going to pick out a delicious cupcake from the floor and grab it by that icing. So just a nice little tent as if you're cupping it over top of some delicious icing right now. You can even start to walk those fingertips out a little farther and feel that stretch start to travel down through the neck into the shoulder and the arm. From here, we're going to let the chin start to travel over towards the shoulders. If you were going to look out over top of the right shoulder, and then start to tuck that chin down as if you were reaching it towards your shoulder or your armpit. And you're going to feel that stretch start to transfer down towards the back muscles on the left side of the neck. If you're comfortable, stay here. If you'd like to deepen the stretch, you can start to take the right arm out on an inhale. And as you exhale, just let the palm of the hand start to rest on the back of the head. And we're not going to pull down here. We're just going to let the weight of the hand rest on the back of the head to gently deepen the stretch. Continuing to breathe here, nice and gentle. Finding that balance between effort and ease in each of the poses. So if anything becomes too intense or you feel yourself not able to take a full deep breath in, go ahead and back out of the pose a little bit and find that comfort level. From here, we're going to release the right hand, draw the chin back up parallel to the ground. we're gonna let that right hand travel back behind us and just plant this part of the palm down at the base of the spine. So I'm gonna turn around really quick to show you what I'm talking about. You're just gonna take this hand and plant it down at the base of the spine, and then use it almost like a kickstand to help lift yourself up and grow a little taller in your seat. And then you're going to take your left hand and reach it around to your right knee. You can keep the gaze looking out towards the side, or if you'd like to take the stretch all the way from the base of the trunk up through the neck, you can start to look out over that shoulder. Again, gently breathing here, noticing if you've twisted so far that you can't comfortably breathe, and allowing yourself to come back out of the twist a little bit. I'm going to twist back around and face you all for this next part. So as you have that left hand on the right knee, right hand is down at the face. On your next inhale, we're going to lift that right hand up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, start to reach out and over top of that left knee, feeling that stretch come down all through the right side body. Sometimes you have a tendency to start to let that shoulder collapse. So try to be mindful and draw that shoulder up and away, creating some space between the shoulder and the ear, maybe even looking up towards the ceiling on the inside of that right arm. This helps strengthen the neck muscles. If the neck is a little tense and you'd like to give it a bit of a break, you can always let the gaze shift back down towards the left knee, relaxing that neck a little bit. And then coming back up to your gentle seated position that we found ourselves in at the beginning. We're going to start moving on to the opposite side. So we're going to start drawing that right ear up towards the ceiling now. Feeling the left ear travel down towards the left shoulder, but again, being mindful as you exhale, let those shoulders sink down and away. Really grow tall through the spine. Feel that right ear reaching up as opposed to the left ear crunching down. And start to feel that stretch down through the right side of the neck now. If you'd like to deepen the stretch, you can again reach those fingertips out, tenting the hand, reaching for the ground. You can take it even deeper still by starting to walk those fingertips out as far as you can. Nice, even breaths here. Feeling the shoulders sink down each time you exhale. Relaxing and releasing a little bit more. Taking that chin now and starting to angle it over towards the left shoulder, and now tucking it down gently, feeling that stretch transfer to the back of the neck now. If you'd like to deepen the stretch, you can now on your next inhale, raise that left arm up towards the sky and then allow the palm to rest gently on the back of the head again. Not putting pressure on the head in an intense pull down, but just the weight of the arm, allowing that to be enough to gently intensify the stretch for you. Continuing to breathe here, growing tall on each breath, allowing yourself to stay tall as those shoulders sink down away from the ears. Releasing that left hand down now, taking it around behind the back to be your little kickstand again. And then bringing the chin back to parallel, we're going to wrap that right arm around. Grab hold of the left knee now. And again, you can just allow the gaze to shift out over to the side. Or you could start to look behind you, reaching out over top of that left shoulder with the chin. Maybe you unwind a little bit with each inhale to create space for the belly and the lungs to fill. And then exhale, draw everything in as you twist a little farther. As if you're wringing the whole body out like a dish rag. On your next inhale, allow the left arm to start to float up towards the ceiling, and then exhale as you lean out and over top of that right knee. Again, making the decision here, would you like to allow the gaze to shift up towards the ceiling, looking on the inside of that left arm, or allow the gaze to travel down towards the ground, just letting that neck hang a little bit. Coming all the way back up, we're going to start to draw the feet together. Go ahead and start to walk the fleshy part of the bottom out from underneath you so that your sits bones can feel the earth, drawing the feet in towards the body. Where you feel this stretch is going to change based on where you have the feet positioned. So if you like to get a nice deep hip opener, the closer you draw the feet in, the more you're going to feel the stretch through the insides of the hips. If you'd like to stretch down through the outsides of the legs, the farther out you take the feet, the more you're going to feel that transfer down through the back. So you decide what your body needs right now, and then go ahead and just draw the feet in towards the body. We're going to take the thumbs and we're going to draw them onto the insides of the arch of the foot. So as if you were reaching into a book and then starting to open the feet up. Some people's feet are not going to open up very much. Some people's feet will open up and their knees are going to come all the way down to the ground, and that's fine. You find whatever is the perfect variation of this pose for you, whatever your comfort level is. And then take a nice deep breath, start to roll the shoulders back and down, and as you exhale, start to lean out, leading with the heart, shining the heart up towards the ceiling, keeping that nice long line from the crown of the head all the way down to the base of the spine, that tailbone. Feeling that stretch wherever you need it most. Continuing to breathe here. When you're ready, you can release the feet, start to walk the hands out, and then at this point, it's okay to go ahead and let the head drop. Release those neck muscles. And then start to walk the hands back towards the body. Sitting up, allowing the chin to lift last, rolling those shoulders back and down. And we're going to start to straighten the legs here. So go ahead and walk those out if you need to, if that was intense on the hips. And then find yourself in a gentle seated position again. We're going to go ahead and walk the fleshy part out from underneath the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing here. So we're going to make sure that we're sitting up nice and tall. We're going to start to flex the feet. Feel those kneecaps start to travel up towards the thighs. Feel the thighs engage. Maybe even when you start to engage the thighs and the calves, you see the heel flipped up off the ground. It's okay if you're stoned. But just start to flex and really engage the legs. And then we're going to plant the hands down next to us and start to push through the ground as we lift our chest. We're not trying to lift the bottom. We're just coming into a nice engaged pose here. And we're going to hug the elbows into the sides of the body. And then we're going to release that and start to walk the fingertips out, reaching towards the feet. Coming down again to wherever is most comfortable for you. For some people, that might be right here, and that's good. Whatever's most comfortable to you is where you need to allow the pose to stop. For other people, it may be more comfortable to keep going. If it's intense, as soon as you start going forward, you can start to bend the knees a little bit to alleviate some of the tension on the hamstrings, and then start to lower the belly and chest down towards the legs. If you are able to reach the feet, it's okay to go ahead and grab a hold of them. If you're able to reach out beyond the feet, sometimes it can help to intensify the stretch if you start to flip the palms out, maybe even grab hold of the wrist on the opposite sides of the feet to reach out. And then draw the shoulders back away from the ears. Again, be mindful of what your body's telling you. Don't go any farther than you need to. And then as you come back, go ahead and gently come back up to seated. And we're going to start to give these legs a little bit of love. So we're going to take our hands into fists, and we're just going to start to gently knead the dough. We're going to start just gently massaging all of that muscle tissue along the tops of the legs, along the sides. We're going to start to travel down the outside, giving some love to those calves, coming back around to the inside. And then we're going to start to take the left foot and cross it over top of the right leg, getting it up far enough that you can now give that foot a little bit of love. So we're going to start off by just gently massaging the underside of the foot. So all through that arch, up through the pad. Maybe you can take your fingers in between the toes and start to move them back and forth, giving some love to the lower heel area, all around that ankle bone. Just really massaging and kneading the foot. You can again make the knuckles into a little tool to give a massage on the inside of that foot. Start to roll the ankle. And then we're going to take that left foot into the right hand, left knee into the left hand. And we're just going to gently lift the leg and start to rock it back and forth. Just loosening up that joint, the hip joint there. Just gently moving it back and forth. You can start to act like you're stirring a cauldron. My daughter and I just did a really cute wizarding yoga video the other day together, and they stirred the cauldron with their foot. So you can picture that here right now. And then changing directions, rotating in the opposite way. If this is a comfortable hold for you, I just want you to lift it up as far as you can. If you'd like to deepen the stretch a little bit, you're going to take the knee and plant it into the elbow, and then the other foot going into that elbow, and start to hug the leg in towards you to really start getting a deep stretch here. And then we're going to release that leg down, and you can plant the foot on the inside of the calf or on the outside, or you can start to draw it all the way up to the thigh, either inside or outside, whatever's most comfortable for you. I'm going to switch directions so that you can see the twist here. So wherever you have the foot planted, we're just going to gently start to wrap the right arm around and take hold. And just give it a gentle hug. So this is the gentlest version of this twist, just getting a hold of the knee, starting to pull it in towards the body, lifting up through the spine, growing tall towards the sky, and starting to twist the shoulders around. If you'd like to deepen the stretch, you can grab hold, pull a little tighter, and then take the hand around the back and start to look out over that shoulder. You could start to transfer the elbow onto the outside of that knee and just raise the fingers towards the sky. You can also start to reach that hand down towards the inside of that opposite calf on the right leg and just use that resistance to twist a little bit deeper. But again, you go as far as you need to go for your own personal practice. If you're sitting here, that's perfectly okay. If you're here, that's great too. Starting to unwind, we're going to let that knee fall out and open. We're going to flex this right foot, flex the left foot. You can have that leg planted wherever's comfortable for you, above the knee or below the knee. And we're just going to gently apply a little bit of pressure here, not too much, again, just enough to start to open that hip up. And then we're going to take a nice deep breath in, and exhale, start to lean forward into the stretch. I typically start to feel it down through here on the outside of the hip as I lean forward. Go ahead and release, coming back up. We're going to take that foot now down to the floor. We're going to plant it on either the inside of the calf or draw it up into the inside of the thigh. And again, we're going to start to fold forward. So I want you to take your hands as if you're in a little prayer posture here, place them right in the center of the chest, and then start to aim those hands towards the right knee. And we're going to take a nice deep inhale here. And as we exhale, start to lean those hands down towards the knee. And then release the hands down to either the leg, the floor. You could reach out onto the outside of the leg, coming into wherever is most comfortable for you. Again, if you're able to reach the foot, go ahead and grab hold. If you're able to reach beyond the foot, you could do that wrist grab again, and then start to use the resistance to draw the shoulders down away from the ears. If you're able to get the chin to aim towards the leg, you can do that, reaching the chin down towards the shin. And then gently coming back up, shaking all of that out. And I'm going to switch to the other side again so that I'm not the wrong way for the twist. We're going to start to move into the right leg. So go ahead and grab hold of that right foot, bring it up onto the thigh or the shin, wherever's comfortable for you, and just start to give that foot some love. So same thing we did the last time, just massaging the foot, moving all the way up through the arch, through the pad of the foot, taking the fingers, spreading the toes, moving them back and forth, massaging through the top of the foot, all around that ankle bone. Again, you can use the knuckles to give yourself a nice massage down through the arch and all through the bottom of the foot. Rotating the ankle. And then keeping that foot in the hand, bringing the hand around to the right knee, so right hand on right knee. We're just going to start to gently rock that knee back and forth, opening up the hip here. And then once you've done that a couple times, you're going to start to stir that cauldron. Going a couple times in one direction and changing up the direction, moving the opposite way. And then sitting that foot down on the ground. I'm sorry, you don't want to sit it down yet. We want to go ahead and start to hug that leg into the body. I skipped a section on you guys. Apologies for that. So we're going to go ahead and start to hug that leg in towards the body. That can be just a gentle pull of both hands as you're holding on the outside, or you can start to transfer the foot and the elbow into, the foot into the crook of the elbow, the knee into the crook of the elbow, and start to hug in towards the body here. And then starting to release that foot down. Again, planting it either on the outside or inside of the calf or the thigh, wherever's most comfortable for you. And then just gently starting to hug hold of the leg to give yourself a gentle twist here. Holding here for a couple breaths, you can decide what your favorite variation is. Again, reaching the hand behind the back, maybe looking out over the shoulder, starting to transfer the elbow onto the outside of the knee. Maybe you start to reach those fingertips down towards the inside of the opposite leg. Just finding your favorite variation, and then continuing to breathe here, growing nice and tall. And then unwinding again, coming back around front, letting that knee start to fold down, flexing both feet, applying just a gentle pressure with the right hand on the right knee now. Growing tall, taking a nice deep inhale here, and then exhale, start to lean forward. Feeling that hip open up here. Coming back up, we're going to let that foot travel down to the ground. So landing on the inside of the thigh, or maybe loosening it up just a little bit, Making a more gentle stretch by bringing that foot to the calf, whatever is most comfortable for you. And then starting to bring those hands to the heart, aiming the heart towards the knee, taking a nice deep inhale. And then exhale, start to lean out towards that knee, letting the hands travel forward, reaching into the stretch, whatever's most comfortable for you, finding your favorite variation, and then relaxing into the stretch as you continue to breathe. Releasing the stretch, coming all the way back up. So we're just going to shake those legs out now, and then find ourselves coming onto our hands and knees. We're going to make sure that our hands are planted shoulder width apart, knees are right underneath the hips, about hip distance apart. And we're going to start to press down through the fingers and into that L shape on the hand. So you want to be pressing into that area so that you're not putting all the pressure down into the wrists. If you notice that the wrists are still a little bit tender and that's not comfortable for you, you can always come up onto fists to protect those wrists a little bit. If you notice that pointing the toes here starts to cause any kind of foot cramping, you can always curl the toes under to start to stretch those arches out. So to start off with, we're just going to move through a very gentle cat-cow to start warming that spine up. So as we inhale, we're going to let the belly hang low. We're going to draw the tailbone up towards the sky, lift the gaze, push down through the hands as we lower the shoulders away from the ears. And as we exhale, we're going to start to do the opposite. So rounding the spine up towards the ceiling like a cat, still pushing down through those hands, looking back towards the thighs. Inhaling back down through cow. Exhale through cat. Now I want you to do this 3 more times, just moving through your own natural breath pattern. So moving through inhale and exhale, however quick or long that breath is for you. And then meeting me back in a neutral spine when you're ready. And we're going to start to take the right foot back. And we're going to curl the toe under, and we're going to push that heel back to start feeling a nice stretch through the calf muscle. Sometimes the arms can get a little tired here, so if you want to alternate back and forth through coming onto fists and then going back down into the palms, you can do that. Just feeling that nice stretch through the calf. And then we're going to start to transfer that leg over to the opposite side of the body. So circling it out, reaching back. And then we're going to start to take our gaze and look out over that left shoulder towards that right foot that's crossed the body. Drawing that foot back around, we're going to draw it all the way out to the side. So let it kind of slide up on your floor. If you've got carpet, you might need to lift the toes up a little bit more here. We're going to let that heel lower down, and we're going to start to feel that stretch through the inner leg here. So just coming down, almost like you're letting the hips drop a little bit. You can start to set the hips back some. So you just want to feel it all through that groin, through the hamstring here, in a nice stretch. And then we're going to release, come back to that tabletop position, and sit back on the thighs. So sitting the bottom back on the heels, letting the chest and belly rest on the thighs. You can make this engaged, or you can be just in a gentle child's pose. So if you want to just kind of let everything go limp and loose, you can let the forehead come rest on the ground, or you can start to engage in this pose and start to walk the fingertips out and feel that stretch through the shoulders. Just a couple breaths here. And then we're going to come back up onto hands and knees. We're going to start to move through the opposite side. So take that left heel out. Start to push back through that heel, curling the toe under, feeling that stretch through the calf. Breathing here. Again, being mindful of where you're putting the pressure in the wrist. So continue to push through those fingers in the palm. Maybe coming up to fist if it gets too intense on the wrist. Keep stretching through that heel. And then start to transfer that leg over to the right side of the body. You're going to start to look out over that right shoulder towards that left heel now. And then allowing that foot, I'm going to shift off my mat just a little bit to have some space to do this. We're going to let that left foot travel around all the way up to the side. Let that heel drop down. Start to feel that stretch on the inner thigh and through that groin on the left side. You can start to sit back here a little bit. Just find wherever the perfect stretch is for you. And then coming back into your tabletop position, we're going to sit back on those heels again. This time, go ahead and take the toes together, draw the knees wide so you're creating a little bit of space, and sit back on the heels so that the belly can start to dip down towards the mat, stretching those shoulders. We're going to come back up onto hands and knees, so make sure that you draw those knees back up underneath the hips. We're going to start to walk the right hand forward about one hand's width in front of the opposite. We're going to take a nice deep inhale as we reach the left arm out, and as we exhale, we're going to thread that left hand down through that space we've created, coming all the way down onto our shoulders. So getting a nice twist here. You can allow the hand to stay here right next to the body. You can start to let those fingertips travel up and over top. You could let the fingertips travel towards the ceiling, flip that palm around, and then start to reach behind you towards that left hip to give yourself a nice shoulder opener here. If you want to get really playful, you could start to curl that left toe under and then straighten out that right leg. Maybe that right leg even starts to float up into the air. Or maybe it stays right where it was because this looks absolutely insane to you. That's also totally okay. But the nice thing about this is it's a balancing pose that puts you right near the ground. So if you've ever wanted to test your balance but didn't want to worry about falling, you're about as close as you can get to the ground if you do happen to roll out of this. Go ahead and lower that leg back down if you did have it up. You can unwind that arm if you had it. Go ahead and plant it back down. We're going to push through that right palm, start to lift ourselves back up. Come back to hands and knees. We can sit back on our heels again, giving ourselves a rest after that fun pose. If you decided to challenge yourself and test out your balance. And go ahead and switch around to the opposite side for this next one. So we're going to go ahead and come back onto our hands and knees again. This time reaching the left palm forward about one hand's width forward. Inhaling the right arm up. Exhale, start to shift that threading through, coming all the way down to the right shoulder, hips in the air. Arm can stay here. You could bring the palm up. You can start to walk those fingertips out over top. If you feel like you need a shoulder stretch, maybe the arm comes up again. Rotating the palm around, reaching for that right hip this time. You could start to curl those right toes under.
Shift the left leg back. And it's okay to do any of this with any other arm posture too. You can test out the leg even if you don't have the hand in the same place that I do. So maybe you've got the hand down here and it feels a little bit more stable. And you can start to let that leg float up into the air. Engaging the core here. Breathing through the pose. Allowing yourself to have a moment of playfulness. And then slowly lowering that leg back down if it was there. You can start to drop the knee all the way down. Maybe put the pressure down through the knee, the hand, push yourself back up. Coming onto hands and knees again. And whether you were in the gentlest version or the most intense version that you were willing to try out and get playful with, go ahead and give yourself a break. Sit back in that child's pose. Take a moment's rest. Just pause here for a second. Again, drawing awareness to the breath. Breathing in as deeply as possible. Here you might start to feel the body lift up as the belly fills with air and then flatten back out as you breathe out. We're going to come back up onto hands and knees. And we're going to start to curl the toes under. Take a nice deep inhale in your tabletop, and as you exhale, we're going to start to push back, lifting the hips towards the sky, reaching our chest back towards our thighs, coming into down dog. Stretching those shoulders, letting the shoulder blades travel up towards the hips, tailbone travel towards the sky. Heels are traveling down towards the ground, but sometimes the heels don't come all the way down, and that's okay. If the heels are up, just reach those heels towards the ground, whether they reach all the way or not. If your calves are especially tight, you could start to just gently bicycle the legs here, lifting one heel and then the other, lowering it back down. And then stretching both heels towards the ground. As we inhale, we're going to come all the way up on our tippy toes, leave those heels up, and start to bend the knees as we exhale, reaching the belly back towards those thighs. Go ahead and lower those knees all the way down to the ground, coming back into your tabletop. And then we're going to start to take the right foot and work it up on the outside of the right hand. So whether that means you simply sweep the foot up from being in tabletop and just bring it onto the outside. Maybe you need to come up onto hands and knees, get some assistance from something that's next to you, and start to lift that leg up and then bring it out in front and then come back down. We're going to make sure that our hand is on the inside of that right foot, still hands about shoulder width apart, right beneath the shoulders. We're going to curl that back toe under, and we're going to start to lift that knee up so that we can lower our hips down towards the ground. So we're letting that left knee travel back, lowering the hips towards the ground, getting a nice stretch down through the psoas muscle here. As the hips come down, maybe you want to get a little bit more intense stretch. If you would like to do that, you could start to come down onto the forearms. You could also start to let this knee rotate out. So as you're down, you can start to rotate over onto the side of the foot and let that knee start to roll out towards the side. You can do that either from being all the way up on your hands or down on your forearms, whatever's comfortable to you. You might want to play around with lifting that back knee up off the ground. You could also play around with adding a little twist into this. So maybe you start to draw the right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Wherever you are, allow yourself to unwind. Come back to both palms being on the ground, knee reaching towards the sky. And we're going to start to shift those hips back and stretch through the hamstring on this right leg. So you can leave the foot on the outside of the hands, or you can draw it onto the insides of both of them. We're gonna start to flex the toes and lean back, reaching those hips back so that you start to feel the stretch move into the hamstring. Breathing here. Working your way back forward so that you can sweep this right leg back underneath you, however is the most comfortable way to get there. And then we're going to start to do the opposite. So bringing the left leg up on the outside. We're going to work that foot up, hands planted below the shoulders, curl that right toe under, start to walk the right knee back, lower those hips down towards the ground. Breathing here, deciding if you want to stay in this posture, which is perfectly okay, or if you like to play around with some other variations of the pose. So maybe you start to come down onto the forearms. Maybe you start to let that knee roll out and come over onto the side of the foot. You could start to play around with lifting that back knee up. Maybe even coming into a variation of a twist. The opposite one, I was down on my forearms. You can also do this while you're all the way up on the hands. You can let the gaze shift towards the ceiling or still look down towards the ground, whichever is most comfortable for you. Wherever you are starting to unwind, lower everything back down, pushing back into that hands and knees posture. And then sitting back on the heels. Taking a moment to pause and rest in child's pose. And then go ahead and start to slither out onto your belly. So we're going to come down onto our stomachs here. And we're going to get a little bit of a shoulder opener. So you can make this as gentle or as intense as you would like. We're going to start off by taking our hands and planting them right below our shoulders. And then we're going to gently start to reach the right fingertips out from the side of the body. So I'm going to show you what the arm will look like. This is my left arm right now. You're just reaching the right arm out from the side of the body. So reaching all the way out. And then we're going to start to push through this left palm. So lifting up. Maybe that's just a simple lift here and nothing else on the body moves, and that's okay. If you like to make it a little bit more intense, the shoulder needs opening a little bit more, you can start to roll over onto the side. If you'd like to start to open up even more, you can start to play around adding a leg into it, lifting the leg up, bending the knee, starting to touch the toe behind the body. The left arm can float up towards the ceiling. You can even start to float back as if you have wings. Nice, even, deep breaths here. And then start to unwind the body. We're going to slowly come back down onto the belly and move to the opposite side. So stretching the left arm out now. Planting a right hand down underneath the shoulder. And starting to just gently push up. Maybe stop right here and that's enough. Maybe you keep going and roll over onto the side. Maybe you lift the leg, touch the toe down behind the body. The arm could lift up and start to float back. And then start to unwind gently, coming back around. And then allow yourself to roll all the way over onto your back. And we're going to allow the feet to come hip distance apart. Walk the shoulders down away from the ears. Allow the palms to come resting face up towards the ceiling so that the shoulders start to rotate out and open. We're going to cross the left leg over top of the right. So just letting that left ankle float right on top of the right knee. And we're going to take a nice deep inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to let that left foot travel down towards the ground. So just bringing a gentle twist into the body. You could bring the arms up into a cactus pose, a field goal. You could reach the arms all the way out to the sides. You could let the gaze shift out over top of the left fingertips or the left shoulder. And then starting to gently unwind from that side, we're going to start to shift into the opposite side. So getting yourself situated back the way you were before, feet hip distance apart, shoulders locked down from the ears, shoulders open as the palms face upwards, and then cross that right foot over top of the left knee. Take a nice deep inhale here, and as you exhale, let that foot travel down towards the ground. Bringing that twist into the spine and then allowing it to travel all the way up to the neck if you like. By looking out over that right shoulder, you could again bring the arms into cactus or field goal. You could reach the arms out all the way into a T. It's up to you, whatever's most comfortable here. And then starting to unwind back up. We're going to start to take the left leg up into the air now. Leaving that right foot planted on the ground. And we're just going to reach up and grab hold of the back of the thigh, the back of the calf. You could reach up towards the foot, grab hold of the toe, whatever's most comfortable to you. If you're not able to reach the foot, but you'd like to, you can always get a towel or a tie or a belt or something like that and lasso the foot and start to pull it down towards you. So wherever you're most comfortable, just start to do a gentle hamstring stretch here. And as we inhale, start to lift the head up towards the knee. Feel those core muscles engage here. And then exhale, start to straighten that bottom leg out. Lower the head back down and draw the leg in towards the body. Feeling that left hamstring gently release into the stretch. Releasing that leg down now. We're going to draw both knees back up towards the ceiling. Switch sides and draw the left foot up towards the sky. Grabbing a hold again, wherever's most comfortable for you on the leg. Holding here as the muscle starts to give into the stretch. Softening and releasing here. And then inhaling, draw the head up off the ground. Feel those core muscles engage again. Straighten that bottom leg out as you exhale. Lower the head back down. Drawing the leg a little closer into the body if you can. If not, just continue with exactly where the leg was before. Feeling that stretch. Feeling those muscles start to soften and relax. And then releasing the legs back down. This next pose can be done either lying right in the middle of the room, or you can find yourself up against a wall if you would like. So we're going to do a variation of legs at the wall. If you are just in the center of the room, you're just going to take the feet up above you, getting a nice straight line from the hips up to the ceiling. Palms can face upward, shoulders can walk down. If you do want to get next to something for a little bit of assistance, sometimes it's easiest to get next to the wall that you're going to be using and Shimmy yourself as close as you can get, and then start to rotate the legs up while you lower yourself out. And then you can let the legs rest up against the wall or whatever you're going to be using here. Letting the feet rest against something oftentimes will allow you to start to relax all those muscles in the legs so that you can truly relax into this. This is a really great pose for reducing anxiety, helping calm the mind and the brain and the body. It helps with if you're having trouble going to sleep at night. This is one of my favorite poses to come into. My daughter and I will do this sometimes whenever she's having trouble winding down and going to sleep. Just allowing the body to come into a restful position here. Releasing and relaxing all tension. Feeling the muscles slowly soften. And you're welcome to finish our practice in the same pose. Or you can start to shift yourself down into your favorite variation of Shavasana. So if you'd like to just come flat onto your back, straightening the legs out, walking the shoulders down away from the ears. Some people like to have the feet bound with the knees out and open, whatever's most comfortable for you. Sometimes it can be nice if this is too intense on the hips, but you like to stretch, you can tuck little pillows up underneath the knees. Coming into your favorite variation of Shavasana. Starting to draw awareness back to the breath. Maybe the hands kind of rest up on the belly so that you can feel how the air is coming in through the nose, traveling all the way down. Maybe it's your first time working out in a little while, and not only can you feel that air, but you can even feel your heartbeat all the way down in your belly. Start to check in with yourself. Notice if there's any place that's still holding on to anything, any tension, any anxiety. And just will that anxiety to wash away on your next breath. In fact, let's all take a really nice deep breath in together and then blow it out as hard as we can, just pushing all of that chaos away. So nice deep inhale. And then just feel yourself sink into the ground. And with the eyes closed, start to imagine a feeling of relaxation beginning to gather up at the top of the head, right at the crown. And that feeling of relaxation becomes a gentle wave that washes away any last bit of tension. And it starts to massage its way through the skull, all through your hair, as if someone is just massaging through your hair, all around your temples, down through the back of the head. And it continues to work its way down through the muscles in the back of the neck. And as that wave of relaxation hits those muscles on the neck, you feel them start to sink down towards the mat. Maybe even have to make some extra room and walk those shoulders down because the neck started to grow long in its relaxed state. And that wave of relaxation trickles down across the muscles of the forehead. And for the first time in a long time, you feel those lines of tension and stress just wash away. Those muscles relax and release and soften into a nice, untethered forehead. You're not holding up the weight of the world there above your eyes with all of your thoughts anymore. Everything's just drifted away. It continues to wash down into the muscles of the eyes, those eyes that we squint all the time when we're concentrating. Maybe you even wrinkle them up and squint right now just so you can feel how tight those muscles can get, and then take a deep breath in and exhale again and feel those muscles relax and release. Feel that relaxation that you're holding on to there in your eyes and your forehead. Feel that relaxation start to travel down through the muscles of the jaw as they soften. Maybe you swallow a couple of times to start to relax the throat. Or maybe you yawn. And you feel that relaxation wash down across the muscles of the throat, into the shoulders and across the chest. And those muscles just relax down as you start to sink into the mat, just melting into relaxation. It continues to move out across the stomach and the muscles of the core and trickles down around the sides and massages all of the muscles of the low back. Continues to wash out across the muscles in the arms as they soften and sink down into the ground. It washes out across the forearms, encircles the wrists, washes out across the palms. And that relaxation continues to travel down into the muscles of the hips. As they soften, maybe the feet even start to fall out a little bit more as those muscles relax and release. It washes out across the muscles of the thighs. The legs start to grow longer because those hamstrings and those calves release and relax. It trickles down, dancing across the shin, encircling the calves, the ankles, massaging the bottom of the feet, and then trickles out across the tips of the toes. You can continue lying here as long as you'd like. If you're ready to bring your practice to a close, allow yourself to start to wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, take a deep breath in, waking the body back up. Draw the knees up into the chest and give yourself a nice hug. Maybe you start to rock back and forth a few times. And then finally gently rocking over to roll onto your favorite side. And then push yourself back up to a gentle seated position, meeting me back where we started our practice today. For just a moment, I'd like you to start to think about healing and positivity and all those beautiful, kind things that you've seen your neighbors doing or that you've been doing. Just good energy, just a good feeling. I want you to make it something palpable, something you can feel in your hands. Start to draw those hands together. Start to feel that positive energy, that warmth created in your palm. Start to let those fingertips, those palms travel away from each other. And then bring them down towards the ground. Just let those shoulders let go, the arms let go. Relax, you're letting the palms face up towards the ceiling. And just feel that positive energy that you created there resting. Feel it growing bigger and bigger as you send it out of yourself to the rest of the world. And now start to inhale, drawing those palms up towards each other, feeling that energy gather right there, all of that positivity, all of that kindness. And now draw that down and seal it into your heart center and take with you for the rest of the week. As always, thank you so much for joining me. The light in me recognizes the light in you. Namaste. Please be sure to join me back for more yoga videos. I plan on also talking my daughter into joining me for some family yoga. We're going to show you how to do some gentle, fun partner poses, some stretches, some balancing poses, just some fun things to do. You can do it with your sister, your mom, your partner, husband, wife, kids, best friend, whoever you like to bring into practice with you. Just some fun partner poses to play around with. We could all use a little playfulness right now and lean on each other. So be sure to check back. I'll be adding that one soon as well.
And I'll be working with the Bullitt County Public Library System to continue uploading your virtual yoga classes throughout the rest of our social distancing time. Thank you guys for joining me again. I'll see you soon. Bye.